What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So since my last video, they did unveil the L60 in an interview. They kind of went over some of the numbers. So it looks like 5,000 for October is anticipated, 10,000 for December, 16,000 for January, 20,000 for March. And I believe they did state that pretty much a majority of all of that, I think 2024 is all sold out. So if you do want one, you pretty much have to wait up until like mid 2025. So that's always a good thing, right? Definitely. But aside from that though, this also did draw the attention from analysts. So I've brought up in the past the fact that big money and analysts haven't really paid too much attention to NIO, but with this recent over here ratings, it's a head turner, and it kind of does validate the fact that NIO is at a pretty deep discount. So last one was done yesterday. I think it shows yesterday, but it actually was Friday. But JP Morgan, Nick, who has a 41% success rating, did give a $8 price target. Aside from that, you had two other ones. So $7 Citi, Jeff, 35% success rating, and then $6.10 by Morgan Stanley, Tim, who has a 35% success rating. And I believe Tim actually upped it. It was previously $5. So generally that is good. So analysts see a lot more upside. So as a consensus, $5.97 is that average, and that does represent a 13.07% upside. And in my opinion, this would be a lot higher if a lot of these kind of crappy ratings didn't really drag it down, such as Barclays and Goldman Sachs, TINA, and stuff like that. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. As well, latest Morningstar report does show the fair market value for NIO just based on the assets alone being $7.60. So I believe this was updated mid last week. So definitely, once again, a lot of the data points are all signaling that NIO is at a pretty deep discount. I've brought that up time and time again, but I think Wall Street has just recently started to love or really like NIO as far as a investment. Even on the 19th, you did see a lot of big buying due to the unveil. But aside from that, you have roughly around 1 to 2 transactions above $100,000 on any given day now. So that's a very big improvement for those of you that have been watching my NIO videos for the last year or whatever else. Sometimes there would be weeks without any transactions. So it's a kind of a love-hate relationship, right? I think the only thing that has really dampened NIO is just geopolitical issues. If it was a American company, God, this would be like easily like a $30 stock right now. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. And I brought that up with the PS ratio in comparison to Lucid, Rivian, and whatever else. But aside from all of that other fun jazz, no actual news from the company itself. So no PR associated to the big unveil on the 19th, no SEC filings. So it is what it is, kind of just stuck in limbo. As of right now though, or I guess on Friday, shorts were starting to re-enter back into NIO. So they did increase 450,000 shares. So that is net. They were very active. So the majority of volume from Friday was linked to algorithmic trading as well as shorting. And that's actually been a common occurrence over this last several trading days. So you have seen a bump up in the volume attributed to, again, algorithmic trading and whatever else. But 3.7% of the, or sorry, 3.7 is that cost to borrow average. 13.96% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 186.44 million shares overall are being shorted. Generally, shorts were returning leading into, of course, their big unveil. So reached a high of roughly 14.64%. So we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully it does get back to the low 13s, or even if we extend it a little bit further back into like 4% range. And it's kind of crazy, right? If you think about it, NIO has developed tenfold from 2021, but back in 2021 the short interest was 4%. So I think this is just a very clear indication that there's a lot of manipulation, a lot of suppression, and everything. So once again, something to keep in mind. But there still is $1 billion in total short value So it's kind of crazy, right? That's more of a market cap than many stocks out there. And there's a lot of other good info up here, so you just pause it and read through it. But going over some of the options, still seeing a lot of good money getting into NIO through options. 7.47 million in calls, 1.41 million in puts. Sentiment wise, 47% of all the options being done on Friday were optimistic and bullish, and there is a consensus for it to be above $6. Looks like a lot of people are hedging around the February 2025 for that $6 strike price. You have even 7 at that for April 2025. So yeah, a lot of optimism out there for NIO. This is a current open interest, so for this upcoming week, no real strong walls, so you won't really see that much manipulation. So if things, data points come out and better than anticipated, so you have manufacturing data on Monday, initial jobless claims, GDP, and also PCE on Thursday and Friday, that could give the green light for the broader market to really push higher, and NIO can piggyback off of that because the fear and greed index is under the greed category, so people's appetite for risk is very much there, so that could really stand to help and benefit NIO. So let me know your thoughts. But going back over here though, on a side note, options activity is just merely a sentiment. It doesn't move the stock price. So kind of just be aware of that. But aside from that though, with it at $5.28, it is right below this pivot. So currently trading between this S1 and the pivot. So 497 is going to be the strong support. Hasn't been touched over the last couple of trading days, so that's kind of a good thing. But $5.32 is a strong pivot, and based on my last video, I did state that it is just flirting with this stupid 200-day moving average back and forth. So I think it's just trying to find some justified reason to really push higher, and for the most part, the 19th did save it because it was starting to break down on the 18th. Here, I'll zoom in and move it over so you guys can see. So it was starting to break down on the 18th. Luckily enough, again, on the 19th, it really did save it, but still back at flirting with that 200-day moving average. So that's going to be that deciding point whether NIO does break above back into the 6s, which the options is kind of signaling, or if it does kind of break down and kind of maybe touch that central boiling band right here at $4.83. So definitely watch for this to be a key pivot for NIO. And it's actually broken past that several times over this last several trading days as well, but it always just gets dragged down. So watch for 532 for it to stay above that for 2 consecutive trading days. Flip side, $5.66 is also going to be the next kind of resistance level, and then 587. So just take note of all of these support and resistance points. But all in all, you do see number of retail investors have been, for the most part, getting in over these last couple of weeks. Stochastic, you do see it at 75, so still arguably considered overbought. So if there is a kind of a negative point that does come out, whether it be broader market or specific to NIO, this is where you could see some consolidation similar to what happened on the 18th. But I think NIO is making a lot of good progress, and more importantly, ever since their earnings, it really showed to the broader market that, hey, we are moving in the right direction. Notice us now. Like, we are at a deep discount. So I don't know, what's your guys' thoughts on NIO? Was there anything that stood out to you from the 19th that you wanted to share other than production numbers and whatever else? Was there anything that made you want to buy, or maybe potentially on the flip side made you want to sell? What's your thoughts? And when it comes down to shorts, what is your thoughts? Why do you think that they are increasing? Do you think it's just more macro fears of a potential worldwide recession that people are starting to kind of chat about, or do you think there was some other points that or is it more on the technical stance that they're trying to break NIO kind of below that 200-day moving average? So what's your thoughts? Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account. They give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. This is a kick-ass deal. Link to this is in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.